Pathak ji, Dr. Ajay Kumar sir, Mr. Satyakki Bhattacharjee, Mr. Ashu Kansal, faculty members GLBIMR, students, and all the delegates who have joined us today on this pleasant Saturday morning for this summit. I, Priyanka Rathi, Assistant Professor at GL Bajaj Institute of Management and Research, on behalf of our entire team, is honored to have the most learned and influential bouquet of experts among us. To mark the auspicious beginning of second edition of Startup Summit, creating new opportunities, building partnerships and inspiration, Atmanirbhar Bharat, let us light the lamp of knowledge by seeking blessings of Ma Saraswati. Atmanirbhar Bharat, which translates to self-reliant India or self-sufficient India, is the vision of Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, of making India a bigger and more important part of the global economy, pursuing policies that are efficient, competitive, and resilient, and being self-sustaining and self-generating. Prime Minister Modi's call for Atmanirbhar Bharat provides a unique opportunity for Indian startups to locally produce innovative and affordable products. Understanding this need of the hour, GLBIMR, under the guidance and patronage of Dr. Ramkishore Agarwalji, Mr. Pankaj Agarwalji, and Dr. Ajay Kumar sir, organized the second edition of the Startup Summit. GL Bajaj Group of Institutions was established in the year 1997, and GLBIMR was established in 2007 under the visionary guidance of Mr. Pankaj Agarwalji, Vice Chairman GLBIMR, and since then, the Institute embarked on the journey to reinvent management education in NCR. In record time of 13 years, GLBIMR has demonstrated remarkable growth and has received various awards and accolades. We would like to share that GLBIMR is conferred with Certificate of Merit for Outstanding Contribution in the Field of Education by Competition Success Review, Industry Academia Interface Award for its exemplary contribution in the education sector at 15th World Education Award 2019 held at Bombay Exhibition Center, NASCO, Business School of the Year by Indian Education Network at 8th Annual Higher Education Summit 2020, and recently ranked 7th in the Delhi NCR and 7th in the North India under B School ranking declared in the Week magazine in the November 2020 issue. Our institute is flourishing every day under the guidance and leadership of our Vice Chairman, Mr. Pankaj Agarwalji, and our Director, Dr. Ajay Kumar sir. Mr. Pankaj Agarwalji's vision has provided the foundation for translating dreams into reality for young professionals since last 21 years. For being young and dynamic entrepreneur and for his contribution in the field of quality education, he was awarded with 4 Top Rankers Excellence Award Institution Builder in 19th National Management Summit 2 in 2018. He was conferred with Samaj Ratna Award. The chief guest of the event was Dr. Mahesh Sharma, Union Minister of State for Tourism and Culture, and Mr. Pankaj Agarwal was amongst the only 3 young entrepreneurs in UP who were awarded with the highly prestigious award. He has been honored for excellent leadership of leading institutes in India by Competition Success Review in May 2018. His path-breaking initiatives have won laurels for GL Bajaj at various platforms. Our director, Dr. Ajay Kumar sir, is a strategic thinker and an academician with revolutionary spirit. He carries more than 33 years of experience in the academic research, training, and consultancy. For his relentless efforts towards academic excellence, he has been awarded by several national and international bodies. Philip Kotler Award 2020 by Laura Rees, President Rees, Georgia, USA. Inspirational Icon of the Year 2020 by Integrated Chamber of Commerce Industry, to name a few. So, has been has been at the director position in many institutions such as ITS, Asian School of Media Studies, International Chamber of Media and Entertainment Industry, and many more. With these words, I would like to invite Dr. Ajay Kumar sir to formally welcome all the distinguished guests present in the summit session today and inaugurate this session.
सुप्रभात, गुड मॉर्निंग टू एवरीवन। सर्वप्रथम मैं डॉक्टर बिंदेश्वरी पाठक जी को नमन करता हूं, प्रणाम करता हूं, जिनसे मुझे मिलने का अवसर 1980 के उपरांत कई बार हुआ और एक दो बार उन्हें मैंने दीक्षांत समारोह में भी बुलवाया है। तो उनके आशीर्वाद का अवसर मुझे मिला है और मैं उनको नमन इसलिए भी करता हूं कि स्वच्छ भारत अभियान की अगर शुरुआत कही जाए या आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अभियान की शुरुआत कही जाए तो 80s में मेरा मानना है कि डॉक्टर बिंदेश्वरी पाठक ने किया था। Now formally on behalf of Bajaj Institute of Management and Research, I take this opportunity to welcome all the esteemed guests, Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak ji, Mr. Satyakki, Bhattacharjee, Mr. Ashu Kansal, present faculty members and participants, specifically these students. It's a great platform for the region that our future is going to be with the entrepreneurs, with the startups, and the focus of the government of India for the last 8-9 years, I can say, have been upon developing the entrepreneurs. While several platforms have been provided by the government, several thrust areas are also there. Recently, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, to be very specific, on 12th May 2020, announced the economic and comprehensive package of rupees 20 lakh crore, equivalent to 10% of the GDP, to fight COVID-19 pandemic in India. He gave a clarion for Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India movement. He also outlined 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat: economy, infrastructure, system, vibrant demography, and demand. Following the call of the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sita Ramana, laid down the details of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package in a string of press conference from 13th May to 17th May 2020. And I believe all of you must have heard or must have gone through the announcement and the packages to different sectors of the functional part, you can say, or the activities, you can say, which are being taken by the industrialists, small industrialists or MSMEs too in India. The Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign is a call for encouraging the entrepreneurs, encouraging the creation of an environment of innovation and entrepreneurship. The individuals have been urged to adopt the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign to transform the local into global India. The Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign is a launch pad to boost entrepreneurship, nurturing innovation and development of an environment for rural-urban symbiotic development. India's call for self-reliant economy is not for protectionism or isolationism. It is for adopting a practical growth strategy that would enable the country to identify and capitalize on its own internal strength. No doubt, India has been endowed with the capacity, and resources to remain independent and to provide support not only to the people or the population or to the youth of India, but Indians or Indian soil has been capable to provide support to other developing nations across the globe. PM Modi recently launched the Atmanirbhar Bharat Innovation Challenge to spot Indian apps who possess the potential to go global. All of you know that since the pandemic, several encouragement has been made to come out not only with the health-related equipments or medicines, but all those tools which can prevent the spread of pandemic. The challenges witness the participation of excellent apps that have the potential to become leaders in their categories. Several apps have been created by the Indian entrepreneurs, not only male, but by female entrepreneurs also, which reflected how technology can help to create successful entrepreneurs. The video app Chingari, you must have seen, which is a rival to the erstwhile popular Chinese app TikTok. It emerged as the winner of Atmanirbhar Bharat App Innovation Challenge in the social category. A key takeaway from the announcement by the PM is that the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is a framework for building a self-reliant India, which would be competitive globally. It is also looking to strengthening local manufacturing, building local supply chains, and converting local products into global brands. Within a span of 4 months, I believe that not many activities have taken place. Several entrepreneurs have forayed into the activities of Atmanirbhar Bharat in different areas, in different fields altogether, you can say. There are several examples also of the successful stories. I would like to cite one example, the success story of Adivasi women in Chhattisgarh for self-reliant India. As COVID-19 has spread globally, resulting in the shortage of hand sanitizers amongst other products, women from Chhattisgarh are steering contribution to India's collective fight against the coronavirus. I don't know whether you have heard the name of the product or not. Madhukam. It's a brand of herbal sanitizer developed by these women with guidance from Samarth Jain, a scientist, researcher, and a consultant. The product can be matched with any best products globally. Another shining example of Atmanirbhar Bharat is Bengaluru-based startup Bellatrix Aerospace. One of the biggest constraints in space technology is the cost and weight of fuel. This also reduces the capacity of the satellite to carry payload. The company has developed a new propulsion system that lets satellites take on more payload. The indigenous electric propulsion system for satellite called microwave plasma thrusters offers its customers the ability to take biggest payloads into a space at a reasonable cost. So what I mean to say, several new innovations are coming in our country, and people are definitely moving towards self-reliant. I believe that today's deliberation will definitely highlight the key issues and development in the field of, or towards the slogan by the Prime Minister for Atmanirbhar Bharat. We have galaxy of key speakers, while Dr. Bindeshwar Pathakji himself started such campaign in early 80s and have been steering in this field with several new innovations too, which I believe many of you might not be knowing. But there are several startups, several new initiatives, which can definitely be leading our country to the position of self-reliant or Atmanirbhar Bharat. With these words, I'm closing my initial remark on this subject, and I believe that the experts will be highlighting and deliberating on this subject with more focus and in a better manner too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So we have Dr. Indrajit Ghosh also right now in the inaugural session. Dr. Ghosh?
He must be muted, I think.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us for the inaugural session. He is one of our distinguished speaker in panel 1, and he has accepted our request to be part of inauguration session as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, Indrajit ji.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yeah.
So carry on.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, the founder of Sulabh International Social Service Organization, is widely recognized in India and around the world for dedicating his life to build a nationwide sanitation movement spanning over 5 decades. His contribution has made a critical difference in the lives of millions of severely disadvantaged poor who couldn't afford toilets, and those who worked as manual scavengers and hence faced severe discrimination in the society. Dr. Pathak was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. Subsequently, his work and ethos has intrinsically contributed to the purpose and principles of United Nations. In 1991, Dr. Pathak was awarded Padma Bhushan for his monumental work. In 1992, Dr. Pathak was bestowed with the International Saint Francis Prize for the Environment by Pope John Paul II. Recognizing its efforts in the year 2019, Sulabh was awarded the Gandhi Peace Prize for implementing the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Starting from year 1984, Dr. Pathak's work is being continuously awarded and recognized by many. Listing all his achievements in this summit will be a Herculean task. Such is the stature of his work and contribution. Great things are achieved when knowledge is combined with action. With these words being said by Dr. Pathak, I may like to humbly welcome Dr. Bindeshwar Pathakji to address the delegates and students in the attendance today. Sir.
Thank you. Honorable Dr. Ajay Kumar ji, Mr. Pankaj Agarwal, S. Bhattacharjee, Ashu, Kansal, and all other distinguished participants. I feel proud and privileged that I have been invited to participate and say a few words on this occasion of self-reliant Bharat, which has been initiated by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Hari initiative I have said because from the very beginning, this has been emphasized that we should be self-reliant. The question is that students today are depending on computer. If you ask them to multiply 5 into 5, thus they will go to computer. And we used to study, we used to speak by mouth and memory. But now for a small sum or a small calculation, I mean, now they go to computer. So in the case of self-reliant Bharat, if you are dependent on a system, then without that, you cannot go ahead. So this is very important that we'll have to take care of. Computer is necessary in today's life, but too much dependency will certainly create a problem. Mahatma Gandhi had said that we do automation to the extent it is very much necessary to solve the problems of the society, of the country. Because in the West, they have more works, less hands. India, we have less works and more hands. So Gandhi was aware of the situation, and he used to say that do automation to the extent it is required. So what I suggest in self-reliant Bharat, that now in the schools, colleges, they should not be dependent to the extent that in a small calculation they're going to do. Application of mind is more important than knowledge. And the time of calculation, you are not calculating your mind. You are not using your mind. You are asking computer to use your mind, and then to let you know. And then you say, oh, this is the result. So this is a very good initiative of the Prime Minister, followed by your institute and many others in India. They have started the GLBIMR Institute of Management. Certainly, I was fortunate enough to visit the institute, and I was given the opportunity. Now, time is short. I have been told not to speak more than 15 to 20 minutes. So, just I would like to tell my story. I was in search of a job after doing graduation. I became a school teacher in a high school. Did a small jobs on ₹5 as a muster roll per day. And then I joined a society which was formed to celebrate the century of Mahatma Gandhi. That was the year 1968. Centenary year was 1969, but it was formed earlier to make preparations for the celebrations. Now, here, my secretary, general secretary, he told me that we have to solve 3 problems of India, which Gandhi wanted. One, to remove untouchability and social discrimination. The other, open defecation by the people in the country. And third, cleaning of night soil, human waste by the untouchables, to bring them in the mainstream of society. Because it will be necessary to fulfill the dreams of Mahatma Gandhi in the centenary year. I told him, sir, I am just an arts graduate, and I am not a scientist, I am not an engineer, and all these problems we have to solve, except untouchability. It will require technical knowledge. And socially, I am a Brahmin by birth. I touched an untouchable while as a child, and for that matter, my grandmother forced me to swallow cow dung, to drink cow urine, and she put a lot of water in the harsh winter of January to cleanse me, sorry. So the question is, So what I will do? So he did not agree. And he said, and he told me a story, that there was a teacher in Thailand, Bangkok. He taught many students. Two of them said they wanted to go to India. Teacher said, okay, go. So teacher asked and said that when you go to India, you will find mustard oil there. So please bring mustard oil from India. So when they came to Sundarban forest, because this is from the east, so the first boy said, the first student said, that some animal has passed from here. He said, how do you know? He said, I know. They went ahead and he said, this animal must be an elephant. He said, how do you know? Said, I know. Then he said, when they went ahead, this animal must be blind by left eye. So how do you know all these things? So when they're going, the elephant was also passing. So they asked the Mahat to stop the elephant. And they checked, and it was truly, the elephant was blind by left eye. So they went ahead, and this is a longer story, I'm leaving it. So when they returned back, teacher had suggested them to bring this mustard oil in an earthen pot. So the second one brought the mustard oil, it was half. So he asked, why? He asked first one. And he brought mustard oil in the other pot. It was full. So he asked for the second one, oh, his is full, why yours is empty? Half. He said, this question I have to ask from you. You have taught him so many things which you did not teach me. And he told the story of the way. So he asked the first one to explain. So he said, sir, when we went to Sundarban forest, I saw some path was there. So I said, dense forest. People must not have come. So maybe some animal has gone from there. We went ahead. I saw the branches of the trees were removed. So I thought, which animal may be so high that it can remove the branches of the tree? And I said, it must be an elephant. Then what we found, that the print of the left leg of the elephant was deeper compared to the first one, the right leg. So I thought this must be a blind elephant, a left eye, and therefore it takes time to lift the leg, and so the print becomes deeper. So on the way, we found the elephant, and it was found that he was blind. You said mustard oil in the earthen pot. So what did we do? I just kept the earthen pot in the water for 3 days to suck the water first. And after 3 days, I put the oil, I removed the water and put the oil, mustard oil. And it was full. The teacher said, look, I taught you equally, both of you. There are no discrimination in teaching. But what he did, he's applied his mind. And you do not. And he said, he gave me a book of Atkatha by Mahatma Gandhi and Experiments with Truth. And he said, go, now we do it. So this is the starting of my journey. I went and lived in the colony of untouchables in Champaran, now Betia. And it is coincidence that Mahatma Gandhi started his freedom movement from Champaran, Bihar. And I also started my scavenging free program, Bhangi Mukti, from Champaran. So I lived there for 3 months, studied the books, discussed with them their problems, the way of eating and how they live and what to do. I could eat with them. I don't want to take your time. Just I want to tell one story there. That maybe at 3 or 4 o'clock, we are going to have a cup of tea in Betia town with some people of the colony. And a boy wearing red shirt, like me, he was attacked by the bull. People rushed to save him. But somebody from the crowd said, oh, he belonged to untouchable colony. And everybody left the place. We took the boy to a hospital, but he was so badly injured that he died. So I took a vow to fulfill the dreams of Mahatma. The brilliant question was how to fulfill the dreams of Mahatma. Only by saying, if you ask people nowadays, they will come and tell you what Gandhi used to say. But what is the answer? They don't know because they have not tried. So Gandhi in 1934, he invited upper caste people in Bindeshwar, Odisha, to have food with them, dinner. They came, but at the time of eating food, all refused and said, Gandhi, we cannot eat with them. So Gandhi has written there, the Indians are ready to face the bullets of the British, but unable to eat with untouchables. In 1935, while writing the preface for the book Untouchable, written by Dr. Mulkraj Anand, a novelist, and what he said, E.F. Forster, he wrote that no sacrifice, no obligation, nothing is required to remove the untouchability. Remove the scavengers from this job of Bindeshwar. Just a first ballot. And that will solve your problem. Now, to find out first ballot, the attempts were started. The first was done in England, London, in 1837. And finally, in 1950 something, it was invented the sewage system for the safe and for safe and hygienic disposal of human waste. Because the doctor in England, he said to the government, because that time 10,000 people is to die every year because of cholera. So doctor said, unless you have safe and highly disposal of human waste, we cannot control the cholera. Before that, attempt was made by John Harrington in 1596, and he developed the design of septic tank. Later on, that was carried forward by Thomas Sqapes in 17th century. So only these three attempts were made. And so also Indian Council of Medical Research, Planning Research Institute, Lucknow, and other organizations also, they tried their level best to find out the solution, but they could not find it. In 1957, a committee was formed by Government of India of parliamentarians, and the report came in 1960. They talked about the welfare of the scavengers, how to provide them gumboots and how to shoes and trolleys. They should not carry on the head and so on and so forth. They should have housing, proper education. But they could not give the solution to the problem a flutter. The followers of Gandhi and others, they also tried in their own way. So I joined this, I told you already. So I invented the technology. And that technology made a difference in the lives of country schools. And that technology stopped open defecation in India. The movement led by Honorable Prime Minister of India. But here it's very important. Had not I invented the technology, had not I invented the idea, because what was needed, the technology developed in England, sewage system or septic tank, both costly in construction, maintenance, requires huge quantity of water, enormous quantity of water to flush, and therefore it was not reaching to the people. And although this book was written after my doing all these things, but Schumacher, in his book, A Small is Beautiful, he wrote that scientists should explore the possibilities of inventing cheap and affordable technologies that can solve the problems. Gandhi also said the same thing. So here, had not I invented the technology, there is no chance of getting India free from open defecation or manual cleaning of waste. Second, because time is short and I'm going very fast after 5, 10, 20 minutes, get the time over. So that way, the problem in India was open defecation. Women used to go before sunrise and after sunset. And they had to face a lot of problems, snake biting, scorpion biting, animal attacks, and sometimes human attacks also. Children used to die because of diarrhea and dehydration. No school had a toilet. I studied in 4 schools, no school had a toilet. And then in urban areas, 85% houses had pocket toilets, cleaned by untouchables. And in public places like stations, railway stations, bus stop, religious and tourist places, and so on and so forth, there are no any place to make comfortable. So the first the technology I invented. This is the technology. This is 2 pit. One is at a time. Other is kept standby. When this is full, switch over to another one. And in the other one, after 2 years, and when it is full after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we have built toilets for 40 years. So then you can clean the first one. And what you will get? You will get this fertilizer. I smell for you fertilizer. So there is no smell. It contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So that way, now it becomes fertilizer, and for good health, you can put in the plant, flowers, and fruit trees, others. So it will be a good fertilizer, a manure, you can say, because it's biological. So this is very important, and so it has solved both the problems. So the open defecation and as well as cleaning of night soil by the untouchables. Let's see the lady. Till 2003, she used to clean night soil to earn her livelihood. I met her in 2003. 2015, she was with the Prime Minister. And this year, she has been chosen for Padma Shri Award by Government of India. Just see how the life has changed. But the life has changed only because this technology. Because COR is not possible. So I'm not going to detail. So that this technology has made her life like this. So the important thing that technology has played a very important part. The second I developed, I just go 1 minute, that this is my theory, Vishaka theory. This is called Vishaka theory of intelligence. So here we find problem, research, invention, strategy, action, collaboration, and appreciation. So it will take time to detailing. So just say one here, the invention, research, and strategy. A strategy I adopted that even today, the toilets built in 74, 75, 76, it is, if you go today to see the function of the toilet, it is working till today. Not that you cannot find the toilets there. So the strategy is very, methodology I can say, is very important. So this, by this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can solve any problem of the society. Not time to go in detail. So the second thing that in 1878, an act was passed by Kolkata Corporation to maintain public toilets on pay and use basis. And that it didn't work. So I got a chance to work, and in 1974, I got built a public toilet with bathroom, washing facilities, soap powder, and maintenance round the clock. This is the beauty of the follow-up. We don't maintain, we don't follow up, very, very good things created go wrong. So And there was a small charge, 10 paise at the time. People used to laugh. Who will pay? Because nobody had a habit of paying, making payments. And there's this lawn, big lawn in Gandhi Maidan, where VIP used to walk around in the mornings. But they had to put handkerchief on the nose when you used to cross that area. It was so stinking. 3,000 people used to defecate in open. So when the stinking was stopped, they became separate. What happened to the stink? To the stink. And they used to come and see, oh, the toilet has been built. And the first day, 500 people came to the toilets. Now, what was the important? Important is that the provision was made only by telling, oh, there should not be dirty, it should be clean, and this and that. Unless you provide the facilities, you cannot tell people not to. कृपया यहाँ पे साफ ना करें, ठीक है, नहीं करते, बता दीजिए कहाँ करें. तो अभी बाकी है इसको करना. स्वच्छता अभियान चल रहा है देश में. There should be many places written, oh, please go this place, you can go for toilet or urination. तो कहाँ करें, ना करें तो लिखा हुआ है, भगवान जी का फोटो डाल देंगे ताकि कोई करे नहीं पेशाब, वो सब तो चल रहा है. But so this is very important. So I gave in sanitation sector the second one. And both technologies, methodologies have solved the problem. Implementation has been done on large scale, still to be done. But the ideas have worked. We have built 1.5 million toilets by Sulabh, and also public toilets, 9,000 places. The biggest one we have built, that is in Shri, Maharashtra. This is biggest in the world. Those who have gone abroad, you must not have seen toilets like this anywhere in any country. At present, 200,000, means 2 lakh people use daily. And next year, 4 lakh people will use it. So this is the biggest public toilet India has, nowhere in the world. So the idea has gone to just see that the toilets I built 48 seats in 74, now we have about 2,000, about 3,000 you can say, toilets, bathroom, sitting rooms, and a small dispensary, and so on and so forth. Many facilities are there. So this is the second one. And third one, human skater. I have developed a design of biogas system. Biogas picture tha. And here you see that biogas, the design I invented, you can cook food, you can burn the lamp, light the lamp, you can just see convert it to energy to supply the street light, or you can have, you can warm your bodies during winter season. So aam gotli kada. On the one hand, you have toilet, bathroom, and for the use for improvement of environment, to keep the place clean, to reduce the diseases, no diseases will be there. And on the other, the product has been used is being used to say do all these functions. Now, just see this water. This is water from public toilet. So it has less than 10 BOD, biochemical oxygen demand. And it's pure water. On the one hand, it should be used as a fertilizer. It also has nitrogen and phosphorus potential. But if you want to discharge in river bodies, there's no chance of pollution. You see the water. The transparency in the water is transparent. So if you discharge this water in river bodies, there's no chance of pollution. So the question is about that you have to Atmanirbhar Bharat. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, how is it possible that you do yourself? Lord Buddha said, Apo Deepa Bhava. Buddha said, there is no God. You are a God yourself. So you have to burn yourself. You have to light yourself. And if you light yourself, you will get everything from inside. So if you want to become self-reliant, I was in search of a job. Now we have regular employment of 50,000 people. So people, 40,000 people, 50,000 people we have on regular employment, and mandates millions and millions and millions. So just see, one person, I'm not egoistic, I'm not trying to self-praise myself, just for reference. That from a person in 1970, 68, 60, late 60s, you can say. So the person was searching for a job. And he got the opportunity somewhere. And he developed all these things. All these rehearsals have not been done in the world so far. And I am not a scientist. I am a social scientist. So when I have not studied all these things, then how do you know? So this is very important, application of mind. This is how. And what I did, I am a student of sociology. I am a student of sociology. So in 1985, I organized a seminar to include water, sanitation, fertilizer, and so on and so forth in the textbook of sociology. Except 3, all laughed. How you can teach sanitation and water and fertilizer in text of sociology? I said, only by theory, only 5, 6 students, 10 students were bright, they get employment immediately. Later on, another left, they had to find out the job. Now, if they study these things I have shown you, I have not shown you everything. The Panida Dikha. Which one is? Now this water, this is from West Bengal. And there they have problem of arsenic in the water. So I invented the technology And that technology has helped to clean water from the pond. And this water is supplied 50 paise per liter to them. And the total sale per day is 12,000 liters per day. So 6,000 rupees per day. 1,80,000 in a month. Now, if you get this water, you get a pond, and there you can use this technology, and 1,80,000 is income. Even half of you spend on the maintenance. Then you have what, 90,000 rupees or 80,000 rupees per month. So you can get the employment. And this is self-reliant Bharat. This is very important. So the question is, now I would like to, not to take much time because my contribution are so many, so it will take a lot of time. So the question is, the topic is very good, very relevant up to date. So what I was telling you, I just conclude that it took me time, and finally, sociologists of the country, they have agreed to teach action sociology, sociology of sanitation in the curricula of postgraduates and undergraduates. The universities are Maharaja Krishna Kumar Singh Ji, Bhavnagar, University, Gujarat, and then History Department, History of Sanitation of Maharaja University, then Hemchandra North Gujarat University, Sardar Patel University, Gujarat, Raithland Mishra University, Darbhanga, Kamau University, Nainital, Hemati Nandan Bahuguna, Srinagar, and Sanitation and Vocational Training, Agra, Kashmir University, University of Kolhapur, Maharashtra, Mangalore University, Gujarat University, Gujarat, Bhakhara, Kabir Nursing Mehta University, Gujarat, Bhakti Kabir Nursing Mehta University, Gujarat, Saurashtra University, Gujarat, Maharaja Krishna Bhavnagar, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, Mangalore University, Mangalore, Bangalore, Central University, Bangalore, Kannada University, MP, and Kavinpur University, Shimoga. So now I leave many names. Now just see that my initiative and pursuance to the socialists. Now, if the students they learn all these things while studying and they pass out, when they go to the field, they will not be in darkness. They have learned something while studying, and by the application of those things, they can earn their livelihood. So apart from solving the problems of the society, they can solve their own problems. So the question is that the topic which you have asked me to address is very good for me. I feel very happy. And I do not want to go further unless you have some questions, because my time is, I think, finished. My time is over. Only thing I would say, thank you to the organizers. I'm not naming, for inviting me here again to address the people. And it means they are loving me because they are remembering me. So I have got this opportunity to share some of my experiences. I could not do. And the club of sanitation club. I have many countries. Among my students, I have done menstruation. This Ajay Kumar, film actor, he had developed Padman. That is Padman is a story on which we have been working for many, many years before this started in India. So we are working on menstruation clothes. And likewise, we have many things. One thing I would request all of you, that whenever you get time, this is in the west part near Dwarka, Sulabh International Museum of Toilets. And there you will find the description about toilets, the evolution of toilets, how it started from Mohan Jojo period to up to now, of different countries. And that will interest you. And one thing about the museum, I just want to tell you, that if you are in the traffic jam or in a class like this, you have, and you feel all of nature. So what you have to do, just take your this hand and put pressure anti-clockwise. About 2-3 minutes, and the call of nature, the pressure, that you can control for some periods like 1 hour to 2 hours. I do myself. When I feel pressure in a meeting or a traffic jam, I do myself. So this is just like a pressure, and you can control your call of nature. This you can remember, no problem. Just any blunt object. If you have nothing, you can do like fingernails. And so this I conclude. But one precaution is there. Don't do clockwise. So pressure will increase. So therefore, please come and visit the museum. This is one museum out of 10. Museum, different subjects. But on toilet, this is the only museum in the world. So I have done many things which are only one so far. Or not like the public toilet you have seen. Nobody, no country has toilet like this. So with these words, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences of more than 50 years. And I'm happy that I have not solved the problem, but I have shown the way. I have given the ideas and the practical idea, not that only theory. I have practical ideas I give. And I conclude with some of the, what I did to maintain my honesty and integrity, and to speak truth, and others. So one, you can verify if you like. If you want address, I can certainly provide address to you. He is Mark. Mark is a journalist. He is from Los Angeles time, and he was in India earlier. Now he was in China 3-4 years before. Either he may be China or maybe Los Angeles this time. So he phoned me one day. He said, Dr. Pathak, I'm going to China. I wanted to meet you, but I could not meet. So I wanted to convey one thing. That what is Mark? Do you know yourself? My Mark, such a difficult question you asked me. He said, no, I wanted to know. But anyway, I want to convey you that I was in India for many years. And if you say there's only one person in this country, out of all many, millions and millions, people trust you. I have not found anybody telling you don't know what he speaks. You can rely. So I was so happy to hear this from many Indians, that he is the only person that you can rely on him. So this honesty, integrity of Gandhi, the truth. I'm a very good. My character is good, not bad. But I tried my level best. 99 truth I speak. One truth I cannot speak, that is with wife. Because I give money to people. Offer money occasions, like for studying in a college or schools, for marriages of daughters, for treatment of patients. And she asked me, what you have given to them? What have you given to them? I said, no, I have not given anything to anybody. And she said, no, I have given something. I have not given it. So except this, I try to speak truth. And these things help you to build your personality. Because this is very important. Unless people believe you, anything done by you is not very important. So with these words, I again conclude and thank you, and thank you, and thank you. I hope again you will give me a chance to share my knowledge on different topics, not these topics which I already delivered, but other topics if you want, I would like to come back with some answers. May not be for any academic overnight, regular night, just 10 people, 20 people sitting together, chatting and then asking me the questions. That who are your enemies? एक तो शत्रु होता है एनिमी जो बाहर का होता है, एक जो मेरे अंदर है। यदि अहंकार आपको है, क्रोध आपको है, वासना बहुत है और कर्ज लिया है, यदि कर्ज लिया है, ये चारों के चारों आपके शत्रु है। That will be a problem in your life. So what should be taught in the classes now? A moral class. And then क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए। क्योंकि हम लोग जो अब पढ़ते हैं किताब, तो लगता है पहले जानते कि काम नहीं करते, अब तो वो पीछे गाड़ी जा नहीं सकती है, तो उसका लाभ हम उठा नहीं सकते। ये है कि जो बच्चे पढ़ के स्कूल से निकलेंगे, इनको ऐसी ऐसी कहानियां बताइए जहां इनके गिरने का चांस होगा, और वहां इन कहानियों के माध्यम से सुन करके, और उसके बाद भी जो गिरे होता तो अलग है, लेकिन कम से कम प्रिकॉशन तो पहले दे दिया गया है कि भाई लाइफ में क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है। अब जान लिया आपने जो नहीं करना है, उसके बाद भी करेंगे तो उसका तो कोई हिसाब नहीं है। क्योंकि अर्जुन जो है वो ये जो मन है, कृष्ण जो है बुद्धि है, तो मन तो इतना चंचल है कि अनंत चाहता है, लेकिन बुद्धि जो है ना वो निरंतर करती है। अर्जुन मन है, अब बुद्धि कृष्ण है। विद दिस वर्ड्स आई थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your life experience with us. We feel so blessed that we got the chance to learn from you. There is one question, sir, which we would like you to address, and students really want to understand more about it. They wanted to ask, as far as our country, India, is concerned, and the movement which you launched was related to sanitation. Wasn't it full of challenges? Because in our country, it is a challenge when it comes to making rural background people and villagers, to understand the importance of sanitation and use better pakka toilets.
Yes, actually, what is this technology? I've shown you. The bacteria in the soil converts human excreta into manure. This is technique. Nothing else. And there are two pits, one is at a time, I've shown you already. So now just see millions and millions of scientists in the world, and they could not give the answer of this. So they developed this treatment plant, more complicated. But the small answer they cannot give you. So the question is that it was a big challenge, socially, technological wise, and the implementation. So the strategy had to create. So the question is, that is what is important. The important that lot of challenges were there. Now just see, I'm telling you one thing. Because we ensure that what was built should function properly. So when we complete the toilet, we drop double postcard to ensure to get a reply from the beneficiary that toilet functions very well. This methodology had not been adopted by the government of India, by the state governments, by government agencies so far. Even this now, this Swachhta Abhiyan, toilets have reached almost all houses. But the agency who builds the toilet does not take this precaution. So if you ask next time, if you have this one, challenges are, many challenges are there. Now, that girl who has, the lady who has been awarded Padma Shri, now nobody will touch her. Now she is called a Brahmin. See, earlier they used to go from the backyard to clean the toilet, not from the front side. Now they go to kitchen, prepare tea. They allow them to prepare tea and have tea, both the house owners and the untouchable. So if you see in all these, because time was only 15-20 minutes, so I could not explain everything. But now they share. Ambedkar said that unless they go to a temple to do worship together, go to a pond to take bath, to draw water from the well to drink, and have common dining. And people will accept. I will not know, I will not accept that untouchability has got. And here, what I have done all these four functions of Ambedkar. So if you, next time if you have time, you can just, a few students, they can come and you are a professor.
Yes.
So with students with you can bring them, ask 1 hour session and just ask questions one after another. And that certainly I will answer those questions.
Sure, sir.
And
Sure.
yes, and that will help to the students because this is not possible in this meeting. So certainly, challenges very many difficulties. Now it's just the technology itself. Millions. I'm not a scientist. I told you, I'm not a scientist. But so application of mind is more important than something else. I studied in soil chemistry. I'm not a soil chemistry. But I studied a book was lying. I went to meet somebody and there I discussed. So now I think time is over.
Thank you, sir. To extend our heartfelt thank you on behalf of GLBIMR, we may kindly request you to please accept this memento as token of our gratitude.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Satyakki Bhattacharjee is managing partner at Growth Sqapes, a Tavistock certified consulting practitioner, a speaker, a growth mentor, and a capability advisor. He spent 12 years in the media and entertainment industry as a CXO, worked with great shareholders and excellent CEO, and took the organizations to new benchmark of system, processes, and performances. His strength lies in formulating and executing strategies for turbulent times and bailing organizations out with the least adverse business impact. Activity value analysis, business process reengineering, change management, aligning culture to business strategy, and top management development are his passionate areas of practice. I learned from all those whom I worked with and those who worked with me. I am not self made, I was developed as a leader. With these words, I may like to welcome Mr. Satyakki Bhattacharjee to kindly take the platform and inspire the young minds with the vast ocean of his knowledge and experience. So please.
Thank you so much. Am I properly audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I would like to begin with a small anecdote. We all remember our year of birth with certain very important historical events. So I used to remember my year of birth when Yuri Gagarin went to space. But now onwards, with salutations to Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, I will remember my year of birth when the first Sulabh Shauchalaya was built. So salutations, Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak. I had met you long time back in Patna when I was a trainee. But it is so great to catch up with you. Truly, you have been the ambassador of startups in India. But I must say this, that what appears as startup today, you have done it long back. My sincere regards and thank you for having me, Dr. Pankaj Agarwal. I have been in the GL Bajaj Institute and interacted with you. Dr. Ajay Kumar, welcome to GL Bajaj Institute. Dr. Ashu and Dr. Indrajit Ghosh, who would guide us in the MSME ecosystem whenever we have some kind of queries. So quickly, I will jump into one thing as a keynote speaker. And what I would like to say is that we have almost 200 students now. And we are talking about two principal aspects in this summit today. We are talking about the Atmanirbhar campaign, and we are talking about startups. So I have a question for the students. You need not necessarily answer, but I would surely like you to explore this question: that who do you think would govern the world? Who do you think would take care of the world 20 years from now? And who do you think would take care of the world 50 years from now? Do you really have an answer for that question?
Yes.
The answer for that question, my dear friends, the answer for that, it is not technology, it is not business people. Kanishk Gupta, it is not business people, it is not technology. The direct answer is you will take care of people. Yes, Anjali Tripathi, your generation would take care of people. And why am I asking this question? And I'm going to share a small presentation. It is just one single slide, and I will not cross my allotted time. So this is a question we ask ourselves, that who would take care of the world 20 years from now? And yes, Devesh, youth, who would take care of the world 50 years from now? And the answer is you. Now, this is one way of looking at it. When our generation says, and when the generation of Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, they thought of us, we should think of what is it that we are going to leave behind for our children, for you. And this is a thought which was thought about by the global leaders, by global thinkers in the 90s, in the late 90s, in the organization called United Nations. And they came up with something. Now keep that aside. The story is, what is the genesis of Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign? in such summits which we are in, we must understand what is the genesis of Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. Where did this come from? And remember, it is not Atmanirbhar Bharat project, which many people say. It is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, which is, it's a campaign. So where did it come from? And this is what is most important to know. And once you know this, you will understand the work of Dr. Bindeshwari Pathak, I'm sorry, apologies. And you would understand the work of Vijay Sharma of Paytm. You will understand the work of Rakesh of Oyo. You will really understand. So here is it. In the 90s, world leaders, world thinkers, researchers, they asked this question. The question I asked you, who's going to take care of the world 20 years from now? In fact, they said 15 years from now and 30 years from now. And they said that, well, it is the youth. But if they have to solve the problem, we have to live something from them. We have to leave certain things from them. The way we are developing, it seems we will end the world in the name of development. So lots of discussions happened, and they came up with something called the Millennial Development Goals or the Human Development Goals. And they said that by 2015, this was done in 2000 in New York, United Nations. And they said that and by the way, India also participated in this. By 2015, we will reach these goals. And there were 8 Millennium Development Goals, or we can broadly call it Human Development Goals. And what were there? There were lots of things, eradicate extreme poverty and stuff like that. And believe you me, this is calling out to all the naysayers who say that nothing can happen in this world, nothing can happen in this country, nothing can change, things will remain like this. And I'm calling out for the attention of all those people. Things really changed. From 28% world hunger reduced to 16% or 15%, almost half. And there are other data also which shows that we have actually done well as a world community of leaders, thinkers, researchers, governors. So UN and the global leading community, including our government and our thinkers, got very aspirational. They said that, look, we can do more. And this will not be enough. So what we need to do, the Millennium Development Goals and the Human Development Goals were superseded by what we call the Sustainable Development Goals. And as students of management, if you have not heard Sustainable Development Goals, it is high time you did some study on the Google and go to UN site and understand what is Sustainable Development Goal. Because your career, your profession, either job or as an entrepreneur, is going to be around these 17 sustainable goals. And we are party to the global community. Our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is party to the beloved community. On behalf of all of us, he has taken a promise and made a promise on behalf of each and every national of India that by 2020, of the 17 goals of the Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets, we will also communicate to a better world. Now, there are 17 goals. For the lack of time, I am not reading all the goals, but quickly, if you ask me to read it through, the first goal is no hunger by 2030. All of them are by 2030. No poverty, no hunger, good health, well-being. When I'm reading all these, just think of the startups that you know around yourself, the ecosystem of startups. Just think, name one startup and you will see they are aligned to either one of these sustainable goals. So no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education. Goal number 5, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy. And we know how many renewable energy startups are coming up. Decent work and economic growth. Yes, Saurav, first one. Industry, innovation and infrastructure. Goal number 9, please remember it. Reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institutions, partnerships to achieve goal. These are the 17 goals. And I said to you that your life is going to move around these. Your career is going to move around these. Your profession is going to move around these. And see, any startup that you have, whether it is the startup of Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak, which was 50 years back, cleanliness, hygiene, equality, removing manual scavenging, or it is Zomato today, or it is Paytm today, it is aligned to one of the sustainable goals. So my friends, you must understand, to understand Atmanirbhar Bharat, you must understand what is sustainable growth. To understand startups, you must understand what is sustainable goals. Do some further studies on that. And goal number 9 particularly is more contextual to us, more contextual to this summit. Goal number 9 says, build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. But the world thinkers, the leaders, the researchers, those who govern the world, they gave a condition. And this is the most important. The condition is that each community member of the world, each community member of any country, wherever, whichever part of the world he is or she is, must become more confident, must have the capacity and the skill to act as agents of their own developments. This is the condition which was laid down. That each individual must become more and more confident, must have more and more capacity. We must add to their capacity building, to their capability building, and we must add to their skills to act as agent of their own development rather than depending on others for their development. And there comes the word self-reliance, now related to Atmanirbhar. Now, when this was thought, the only way the leaders thought was encouraging disruptive startups would accelerate the achievement of sustainable goals by 2030. And that is how the Atmanirbhar project was born. Now, this is about the fundamental spirit of intent of the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, which is self-reliant India. It comes from the Sustainable Development Goals, and it is the responsibility of each and every individual. We must never mock it. We must never mock it and take it seriously. Now, that's one part of it. The second part of it, my friends, which is the spirit of this summit, is what kind of problems must the startups solve? Remember 3 problems which Dr. Bindeshwari Pathak said, and he said in different words. They are so relevant. He said them 50 years back. UN told it 30 years back, maybe 20 years back. And what are the 3 problems? First, solve any basic human need. Solve a basic human need. And you name a startup which solves a basic human need. There are plenty. And I will tell you which is a basic human need. Going to the loo is a basic human need. When I was studying in college in early 90s, my basic human need was my father would send me money. And he used to send me 1,500 rupees a month those days, and I used to live like a king. And you know how the money would reach? The money would reach us through money order and insured post. And after posting, there will be 10, 11 p.m. calls of 2 pulses. And then after 10 days, money would reach. How does money reach today? In not even 3 seconds. It's all the basic human need. By the way, I forgot to mention the name of Mr. Sanjeev Chaurasia, who has joined us from TD Bank, Toronto, and it is 1:30 a.m. at night at Toronto, Canada. Mr. Chaurasia is Vice President of Toronto Bank, and he heads the startup incubator cell of the Toronto TD Bank. Mr. Chaurasia, welcome to you. He wanted to understand the startup ecosystem and Atmanirbhar project in India, and that is why I requested. So on behalf of me and on behalf of the entire management and academic board of GL Bajaj, I would welcome you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm definitely enjoying, the talk here. And I won't interrupt Satyakki. He's one of my best friends, so I will, I always love to hear his thoughtful, speeches in various summits and seminars. So I'm glad I'm here, and it's worth trading my sleep for. So it's all good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the second problem that startup must solve is foundation of well-being. And my dear friends, all the entire student community, just see how many startups are there which are coming up on well-being. And if you think, what is well-being? How can a startup there be around well-being? Think of Farmeasy. Think of, there is some startup called Yoga or something. So there are plenty. And the third is any startup that exploits the opportunity to reach someone's full potential, a full potential of a person or full potential of a process. This is the problem that we are solving. Any startup must solve these 3 problems. But why these 3 problems? As a young entrepreneur, you must think, why these 3 problems? Because these 3 problems are the factors which determine social progress index. If you go and see what is our social progress index as a country, the social progress index highest is 88 in Norway, the lowest is some African country, the average is 61, so out of 100 we score 61, and the targeted by 2030 is 75. And I must tell you, only economic progress. So 3 times economic progress increases social progress. See, 3 times economic growth increases social progress by 1.2% only. So if we have to move from 61 to 75, what is it that we have to do? So can you imagine the number of startups that is required, the number of MSMEs that is required, and how much of sleep Mr. Indrajit Ghosh and his team is going to lose just to make the ecosystem stronger. Now, what is it that we need to do then? As students, what is it that you need to do? As young entrepreneurs, as futures of the world, what is it that you need to do? 3 things you need to do as leaders. Leaders do 3 things. You need to know, you need to do, I need to be, to make sure that what is it that I need to do to move from a job seeker doing an MBA, shift that focus from being a job seeker to be an entrepreneur. That is the most important thing. And it is possible in this country to be successful entrepreneurs. And you have one. You can be a technological entrepreneur, you can be a social entrepreneur, you can be a commercial entrepreneur. So if the focus really has to be on startups, the mindset has to shift from a job seeker to to an entrepreneur. And as a keynote speaker, I would suggest that with the rich crowd that we have here, a rich array of versatile speakers, know-how that we have here, we keep this seminar in the context of ideating startups, validating startups, funding startups, challenges of startups, and experience sharing about startups. And if you see, all the questions that are coming up in the chat box are around these areas. So I would suggest, as a keynote speaker, on the foundations of what Dr. Bindeshwari Pathak said, and with the understanding of genesis of Atmanirbhar Bharat, how do we shift our mindset to an entrepreneurial mindset, and how do we ideate startups, validate startups, funding startups, and challenges of startups and experience share of startups. Let's stick to this simple and yet powerful principle of what is it that we need to know, what is it that we need to do, and how is it that we need to be a member of the startup community of India. That's all I wanted to share.
Thank you, sir.
Happy to take any questions if we have time, or we can move on.
We'll take the questions, sir, at the end of the session.
Sure.
We just have Mr. Kansal left, and it was a great learning experience for all of us. And on behalf of GL Bajaj, please accept this memento as token of our thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Ashu Kansal has a rich history of making startups stand up on their feet. He has worked with startups of NDTV, carandbike.com, and bandbaja.com in the capacity of CFO, and is currently with a tech startup, Addverb, which is into robotics and automation space. Now, that's very interesting for our students and delegates to know about. He has also been associated with Tata Group for 9 years. Sir, I may kindly request you to narrate all the interesting stories and challenges you faced when you were working with NDTV and now currently with a company with robotics and automation space. Please, sir.
Sure. Honorable Dr. Pathak, Dr. Ajay Kumar, Satyakki Bhattacharjee.
Thank you.
Inderjeet Ghosh, Shri Sanjeev Chaurasia, and Shrimati Priyanka Rathi ji. Distinguished guests, all students, all honorable professors, very, very welcome to this summit. Let me introduce about myself. I have been part of 6 startups so far, and therefore I can share with you my practical experiences with these 6 startups. Current one is Addverb Technologies Private Limited. This is into robotics and warehousing automation. This is the 4th year of our operations in India. When we started this company, what we found that in India, almost all big companies are buying automation equipment from outside. No one was buying it from India. We decided to have this startup in India. We decided that we will make in India and we will make for the world. And believe me, today, we have all big customers in our kitty, and you speak any, whether it's a Flipkart, Amazon, it's JioMart, it's Hindustan Unilever Limited. We are automating their warehouses from India. We are now expanding our wings outside India also. We have just incorporated sales office in Singapore. Now we are incorporating another office in Netherlands. But our dream is same, Atmanirbhar Bharat. We will do entire manufacturing in India. We will have sales offices. We will not open manufacturing plants outside India. We will create all employment in India. With this dream, we are living in this startup. This is into a mid phase right now. We have worked with another 5 startups in the past into different segments. And right from inception, creation of these startups, bringing into these startups the funds, hunting for the investors, developing the teams, developing products, establishing those startups, making them self-sustainable. That was our objective. And today all those startups are running successfully. We have been able to create employment in India, and all these startups today are profitable. There used to be a cash burn in the beginning, but now there is no need for additional funding and people are happy. CEOs, they are able to prove themselves and they are able to generate additional funding for expansion. Let me tell you 2 key things which I have realized during the initial phase of a startup. First is passion and second is patience. If you have the passion, nobody can stop you. You will find several roadblocks. People will come and will say, what are you doing? Why you are wasting your money? This is your personal savings. Go and join a good industry. Get a good job. You will get a very decent salary. People will say your product will not work. But people who have the passion, they don't believe in all these things. They just keep move ahead and they reach to a journey where they become entrepreneurs. Patience, because the day you start your startup, you are not an entrepreneur. The day you make that startup self-sustainable, you are called as entrepreneur. What is self-sustainability in a startup? Self-sustainable means you don't need any funds from outside. You have the funds which you are able to generate from the operations of your startup. You are able to manage all your expenditure. In the beginning, there could be challenges. You may get demotivated, but initial 1 year or 2 years are generally tough. And we should accept it also. Whatever money you are spending during this initial stage is an investment into a startup. Don't call it as a cash burn. People use this terminology of cash burn. I call it as investment. Whatever funds you have, small savings you have, whatever you have earned from your initial job or the pocket money which you have got from your parents, you spend it on your own startup, and later 1 year or 2 years down the line, you believe me, you will get your returns back. Let me share with you one practical experience about our initial fundraise exercise in all these startups. We would hunt for several investors. There was a huge list of investors. We would take an appointment. We would go as a team, 3-4 guys, go and travel down to the office of the investor. We would go a presentation to the investor. Everybody is happy. After the presentation that we did a good job, definitely this investor is going to now invest. And we will get a call back from him regarding the next round. After coming back, investor will not call you back. There is no email response. He stops picking your phone calls. That is very challenging, very demotivating. We did our best. Where did we fail? Common problem which we faced, we realized later where we failed was regarding the USP of my product. USP means unique selling proposition. How my product is different, how my product will reach to my customer, whether it will delight him whether it will compel him to buy it again and again. USP was missing in our presentation. Our presentation was of 100 slides, but it did not talk about USP. It did not talk about customer delight. It did not talk about how I will handle the logistics, about customer service. And another important point where we lagged was robust marketing plan. If you are able to prove in your presentations to investors about your USP, about your robust marketing plan, you will definitely get invitation from them to discuss about the next round. Keep hunting for investors. That is another mantra. Don't depend on one investor. You should be in a speaking terms with several investors at the same point of time. You never know which investor will back out when. His talk may be promising. You may feel that yes, he's going to invest. He will definitely invest. But later, you may realize that you did a mistake by depending on one investor. I tell you, there could be several external reasons because of which investment finally do not come. We had a investor who promised us to give funds, and he was a Chennai-based investor. He had several showrooms of Mercedes and luxury cars in Chennai, and the money was about to come. We had already signed the term sheet, investment agreement, everything had already been completed. But we were speaking only to that investor. We had not kept any other investor ready. We got the news that there was heavy floods in Chennai, and therefore the investor who promised us to invest, he suffered from major losses during those floods, and therefore he backed out. Whereas we were supposed to pay salary to the employees. That was one mistake that we realized later, that we did not keep our talks open to other investors. During initial phases, don't be very fussy about the quantum of money. Money is immaterial. If somebody has believed in your product, that is a first milestone of success in a startup, irrespective whatever amount he is ready to invest. This is called as seed funding in a startup cycle phase. In the initial years, sales may be low, but whatever order you get, irrespective of your value, you should celebrate it. It is a success. First milestone was investment. Second milestone is getting the first order from the customer. Gradually, the sales will start picking up. Believe me, it's all about patience. It could be second year, it could be third year. During this initial stage of startup, be very cautious about your spending habits. There is no need for any posh office in a posh area. You can always work from your home. Your home can be your office. And today, after COVID, like me, everybody has turned their homes into their offices only. Be very cautious about your spend in the initial years. Another mantra of a good startup, a good entrepreneur, is be very, very vigilant about your competition. Keep a continuous watch on what your competitors are doing. Whatever innovations you are doing in your product, ensure that you get it patented. Sometimes we feel that let us not get it patented, we will do it later. Who will spend patent fee? Who will give the money to the consultant? Let us save that 50,000 and 1 lakh bucks. But you don't know that there's an entire gambit of people who are watching your product. In a startup, when you are launching a product which is your own invention, it is important to invest money in getting that particular invention patented. Don't buy pirated softwares. Sometimes as a startup, we feel that we will use student version of various softwares. Be very transparent right from day one. Have your own software, even if you have to spend money on that. Keep innovating your products. Don't stop in your R&D exercise. It is your R&D, continuous innovation and continuous patience that will help you in moving further in a startup initial life cycle. It is important that during this lifestyle, this startup's initial phase, you keep your relationships open, have maximum interaction with investors. It is not necessary you go and personally meet. You can make your journals, you can make your monthly dashboards, and you have a huge list of investors to whom you can share those journals and keep telling them about what you are doing, how good you are doing. This is going to be very favorable thing for you, because you don't know when these people will start calling you again. They will ask you, where have you reached? How the business is? Do you need any funds? And this is the second stage when you get another round of funding. In startups story, we call it Series A funding. Here comes some important aspects of a startup. During Series A funding, you need to hire a good merger and acquisition lawyer. This is because till now your focus was only on your product, only on how you will sell it. But now when somebody is investing into your company, you need to enter into a contract. We call it a shareholders agreement. And while drafting this agreement, it is a good merger and acquisition lawyer who helps you in protecting you from any unforeseen loss that you may incur in future because you have not considered a particular clause. Recent example of Future Retail Limited, you must have read in Economic Times. Reliance Retail, they invested in Future Retail. Everything was going smooth. People thought that Big Bazaar will come back with a big bang. Sometime later, we came to know that Amazon, who was the existing shareholder of Future Retail, has put an objection to this deal because there was a clause in the agreement that was signed when the funding was taken that Future Retail can't sell its stake to any of its competitors. So this is a role of a M&A lawyer who will tell you what is right, what is wrong, so that you are protected. During first 3 years of a startup, you are completely dependent on investor money and your own savings. In India, I'm not talking about abroad, but in India, banks generally ask you to submit 3 years financials before giving any loan. They ask you whether you are profitable. Do you have 3 years financials? So first 3 years, remember, the banks are not going to help you. It is so from 4th year onwards, you can approach banks for any fundraise. Banks also ask for collateral. If you do not have collateral, then there's a problem. The first 3 years in every startup in India, you are dependent on investor money. So investment is important. Keep a watch on your cash flows. Another mantra in startup. If you need any funding, then you have to start planning at least 6 months in advance. Don't think that the money will come in next 1 month or 2 months. have a cash flow ready with you. Every month, whenever you get time, at least once in a month, prepare a cash flow for next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whether I am self-sustainable or not, whether I'll be needing funding or not. If I need funds, I should know at least 6 months in advance, because when you go for any fundraise, there are a lot of paperwork that is required. It starts from hunting from a particular investor. Once an investor is there on the board, you need to enter into a term sheet. Term sheet has all broad statements about how the deal is likely to be. Once the term sheet is signed, then you get into investment agreement, which has further details about who will be managing the board, what will be the reserve matters, how future funding will happen, what are the anti-dilution clauses. So again, it will take away your another 1 month. So 1 month gone in hunting an investor, 1 month gone in signing a term sheet, 1 month is gone in investment agreement, 3 months have gone only in this paperwork. Fundraising is an important aspect in the initial life cycle of a startup, and you should always ensure that you have 1 year runway. Runway means how much time you can spend paying all the fixed costs in your company and the operations are not impacted. Always try to make sure that 1 year money is there in the bank. And 6 months is a time period for fundraise. Now comes the aspect of valuation. Valuation plays an important role in the beginning. You should not be fussy about the valuation, because people who are helping you in the business, they're actually your partners. They have trust in you. That's why they have come into your business. But later, valuation will play an important role. Say when you are into second year or third year of your operations and you're doing a fundraise, at this point of time, you should have a special skill set to negotiate the valuation of your company. And for that, you need to know how my business is going to be in the next 5 years, how much is the valuation of the people who are into the same business, not only in India, but across the world. More the valuation, lower the stake dilution in the company. Lower the valuation, higher the stake valuation, higher the stake sale in the company. So always try to maintain more than 50% shareholding in the company in your startup till the time you are actively associated with the company. You should try to pitch higher valuations. You should keep discussing with several investors at the same point of time so that you know actually what your valuation actually is. Stay in the business. As an entrepreneur, it is important that we take an oath that we are going to establish this company and this company will stay forever. And I will also stay in this company. If you will work with that mindset, this startup will continue to grow. If you are starting a startup just for the mere purpose of exiting, making money, I have never seen a startup that has been successful. People with this mindset, they never succeed. Regarding Atmanirbhar Bharat, Government of India has done a lot. Let me share with you my own practical examples. When we started this robotics and automation startup in Noida, we went and met chairman of Noida Authority. We told them about our passion, about our product and our vision. Believe me, he was so excited. Till now, he was dealing with the people who already had established businesses, 50 years old businesses, 40 years old businesses. But the day he met us, he was so excited that he talked about our startup to Industry Minister Shri Satish Mahana in Lucknow. We went to Lucknow, we met Industry Minister, we explained him about our product, what we want to do for India, what we want to do for Uttar Pradesh, what we want to do for Noida. He instructed the entire administration team to give best possible support to us. And this is what the government is currently trying to do. They are promoting startups. People have this mindset that the government will not help you, but that is not the reality. Today, the world has completely changed. Till date, we are getting active support from Noida Authority for our startup in Noida. Central government also has introduced several incentives for startups. And there are various trade bodies that are only dealing with startups, and they are fighting for the rights of the startups. When you start a particular startup, then at that time you should get yourself registered with these trade bodies. You should get yourself registered with Department of Industry Promotion. In terms of incentives, I don't know whether you are aware or not. You need to prove that your product is innovative. You need to prove that your startup has the capability to generate employment. If you are able to prove these two aspects, then you need to file the application to Department of Promotion and Trade Promotion in Ministry of Commerce. They will give you a certificate that allows you for 100% tax holiday in any 3 years out of the first 10 years of your startup journey. So that means today this 25% income tax that we have to pay, the moment your startup becomes profitable, you start claiming this tax holiday. So that means you will be saving that 25% tax incentive, tax expense also in the 3 years. So that money you can reinvest into your startup. Government of India through MSME sector also is helping startups a lot. You can get yourself registered with MSME. Whatever exports we are doing today, and for that we are taking loan, we are getting a benefit of interest subsidy of 5%. So if you are taking a loan for doing some exports and the rate is say 10%, then banks are charging you only 5% because remaining 5% is absorbed by Government of India. For domestic loans also, for in-house sales within India, there is a 1% incentive on interest. There is an interest 1% subsidy that is given by the Government of India. Not only
Mr. Kansal, I would like to request you to please wind up in another 2 minutes, sir.
Sure.
We'll take a question answers after that.
Not only this, the Government of India has also introduced various provisions in Companies Act, where they have relaxed certain form filing and compliances that needs to be done with the register of companies. So as far as Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned, my suggestion to all of you, especially the students, would be to go for Make in India, have a vision to have your own startup, create employment into the country, increase our economic growth, and make India as the most powerful economy in the world. I think, Priyanka, with this, I would like to conclude. So these were my practical experiences which I shared with students so that they can plan in advance.
Thank you, sir. You have really inspired the young minds to become entrepreneurs. And I think one of the questions was addressed to you and which I think you have already answered. But of course, I would like to ask that again. But first, we would like to say formally thank you to you. So on behalf of GL Bajaj, please accept this memento as token of our thank you.
Sure.
Sulabh, sir.
Thank you so much, Priyanka.
Thank you, sir. Though you have already answered this question, but still a few points are left. I would like you to add those to this question. One of the students or delegate, I must want to ask because they got, I think, too much inspired by the entire detailing which you have shared with them how to start a startup. what is the Mool mantra for an effective startup? Which, of course, I know you have already covered, but if few points are left or you wanted to add something more to it, please, sir.
Mool mantra for a effective startup is sustainability. If your startup is self-sustainable, you only think about making it self-sustainable. That means it will continue to grow. It will continue to exist. Your product should be such that not only now, later, customer comes back and buys your product.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you. The next question is for Mr. Satyakki Bhattacharjee. Sir, one of our students wants to know that, India claims that, when it comes to Make in India campaign, it was very, very successful. But is it in true sense it was that much successful? And when we decide to go for a startup, how we will be able to know that this startup is going to work? Can you please suggest certain pointers to when it comes to selecting a startup?
Two things. The second part, which is how to select a startup, I think Mr. Ashu Kansal has already answered, which is that it must solve a problem and it must generate employment. I'll give you an example. I met Mr. Ratan Tata 2 years back. A friend of mine was looking for investment and we went to him. He gave us time at 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was such a pleasure to meet him, so simple. You know what he said? He said very simple. He said, I'm sitting with money which I want to invest. What will I do? I have no family, nothing. I have 4 dogs. But get me an idea, which is powerful. Get me an idea for which 50% of our population, that means 50% of the population of India, is willing to pay 25 paise. Get me that idea and take the money from me. Now, this is the homework I'm giving to all of you, of all the 100 students who are there. Think of an idea which, if implemented, half of 135 crore people, which is 70 crore people, is going to give 25 paise each. Think of it. If you come up with an idea, I will take you to funders. That's number one. It has to be a disruptive idea. Now, what is a disruptive startup? A disruptive startup is people could not think that it could make life so simple. People could not think that it could make life, it could solve such basic problems. Transferring money over an SMS. Sitting in Delhi and sending gifts to old parents in, let's say, Bhagalpur. Sitting in Bhagalpur or sitting in Noida and sending food on somebody's birthday at somebody's place, and many other things. So first, it has to disruptively make one problem very, very simple. As if किसी ने पहले क्यों नहीं सोचा था? Second, it has to generate some employment. And third, it must contribute to world sustainability. It must make human life better. Now you see, all these startups have made human life better. Paytm has made human life better. Zomato has made human life. You name a startup, you will see they qualify for these things. This is the criteria. When this evaluation is done, it is called the validation of startups. And Ashu Kansal has explained it very well.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question for Mr. Kansal. Mr. Kansal, are you still with us in the summit? I think Mr. Kansal has already left due to his pre-engagements. Yeah, Mr. Kansal is there. Mr. Kansal, there is one question for you. The students' mindset works like that. So we just wanted to understand why Indian youth is afraid of joining a startup, though you have inspired them a lot, and you wanted to. And I think Mr. Bhattacharjee would also like to add on to this point as well. So the platform is open for both of you. So why Indian youth is afraid of joining a startup, and why they are going for 9 to 5 jobs? Why they want to engulf themselves with the security quota of, getting a fixed salary and not taking a risk? How to avoid taking a wrong risk, and how to jump into a startup which could really help them to, which will grow and, make them self-sustainable and Atmanirbhar, basically what we're talking about.
So people who are afraid of starting immediately after doing their graduation or post-graduation, starting their own business, if they're afraid of, they can join a startup instead of joining an established company. Look at the culture, learn from there, and then join open their own startup. I will suggest that everybody should try to have his business of his own instead of becoming a job seeker. Earlier you start, more the risk you will be able to take, and you will be able to have your own business, create employment throughout the country. I think it is important that we should not get afraid of this aspect that I will not be successful. That's why I said in the beginning, it's all about the passion. And people who have the passion, only they become successful entrepreneurs.
Right, so thank you. Mr. Bhattacharjee, you would like to add on to and inspire students that they shouldn't be afraid and go for a 9 to 5 job and become
You see,
Atmanirbhar, and,
I will build upon what Mr. Ashu said, and my view is little larger. Anybody of the 150 people who are there, minus all of us as delegates, of the 150 students that they're there, can anyone tell me that, okay, there is only risk involved in joining startups? There is all safety in joining jobs. And that is only one aspect of life. If a person wants to avoid risk, can he get into relationships? If a person wants to avoid risk, can he get out of the house? So risk avoidance is a disease. Nobody is saying that one should be on the other extreme, which is gamble. But successful people, effective people, and successful entrepreneurs are calculated risk takers. Nothing is risk-free. Nothing is risk-free. People are doing MBA in either IIM Ahmedabad or Wharton or Bajaj. According to me, all institutes are same. And I have always said this. I sit in many academic boards and I say this, all institutes are same. Forget about rankings, whoever does. All institutes are same. But what is the difference? It is the mindset which is different. Now, a person which is a risk avoidance mindset, do you think his mindset will make any difference if the person goes to Wharton? A job seeker, in the name of avoiding risk, will always be a job seeker. And avoiding the risk here will make him avoid risk anywhere, and he will make or she will make no progress. So risk, calculated risk, must be part of daily diet. Calculated risk. It is the phrase of the day. Calculated risk.
Not.
Sir, Dr. Pathak, sir, there is one question for you, and I hope, yes, sir. So should I ask?
Yes.
Yes. Sir, one of the students wants to understand what is the added value of your NGO when it comes to, we're talking about startups, then how we can relate a startup and an NGO, and how NGO could be a self-sufficient, self-sustaining model, so that if they would like to go for an NGO, how can they be, rather than just dependent upon the investments of the people or through donations and funding. Apart from that, is there any possibility that it can become a self-sustaining model and they can get into NGO work?
The problem with NGO is that he cannot share the income of the organization. So the young entrepreneurs, they're coming to the field. So they will have to see better, because if you take money from anywhere, from an individual or a company or anywhere, that money you cannot use for your own purpose. That is the biggest problem NGO has. So if you have a company, you're earning or living from there, and then you want to have an NGO, it is better. Then in the NGO, if you get money from somebody or the organization or a company, that will be for your self-satisfaction, that you have done something for the society, for the people. It gives you pleasure. But if you want money, then NGO is, I would suggest anybody to form NGO for earning money. If you want to earn money, you will have to have company. And we have same process you will pass through. And the most important thing is that the day the organization is closed for some reasons, the entire property will go to government. After giving all dues left over, everything settled, and then it is left, that money has to go to government. So you are not the owner of the NGO. Therefore, I suggest the young generation that you can have two. One, the NGO for serving the humanity and the mankind. Like that lady I have shown you the photograph.
Right, sir.
She was killing night trials. She was untouchable. Nobody will touch her. Now she is invited as a VIP. She has got Shri, totally unusual. That gives you satisfaction. That at least even Gandhi could not do that. In the world, if I can say, you will not find any slave or any untouchable in India or any slave in the West to get such a prestige in the society. Never, ever. So that gives you satisfaction. But that did not give me money. So therefore, I would suggest that for earning money, you do something else. But if somebody gives you money from the company or from as an individual, that money you can use for the NGO, and it is good for you. But a startup, you have some hope, which study what he said, that is important. You have a future in a startup. You can build up, and tomorrow you can retain it. But in NGO, to the extent you get money to help from the people, that is okay. My case is little different. I earn money. I could have saved a lot of money, but I always spend money spent. I'm an unusual person, and sometimes I say to the God, why you have sent me in this world? I am not fit for this world.
Right.
Now, can you believe me? 12 crore rupees we pay to these untouchables and widows and students and others. How big NGO can give 12 crore rupees per annum on charity? Totally impossible. That money I could have put myself. That money you cannot keep yourself.
Right, sir.
This is a problem with the NGO. But certainly, if you want to do for humanity, mankind, service to society, like Mother Teresa did. Mother Teresa had a desire to serve people, to serve girls. But Mother Teresa had not this to earn money. So to earn money is a different thing, to do social work is a different thing. I have tried to combine together, but even then I cannot see myself. So that way I would suggest that a startup you do differently. And if you want to run an NGO for the society, to help the people, help the humanity, the mankind, you do it separately.
Right. So very rightly said that NGO should be for the benefit of the society rather than for money making. Thank you so much, sir. To end, yes, sir. Sir.
Money making, I'm telling you, because you have to sustain.
Yes, sir.
So a company has a future. You can say, okay, this company was established in 1870, 1850, that we have. But NGO, they cannot survive for so long.
Rightly said, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. To end this session formally, I may request our respected director, sir, to please step in for concluding remarks and extend a vote of thanks to all our guest speakers. And after that, we would like to have a group photograph. So I would request everyone to switch on their cameras so that we can have a group photo also. Sir, please.
Again, good afternoon, everyone. It was a wonderful program. My esteemed Dr. Bindeshwar Pathakji deliberated on his life journey, but it was brief because naturally, if he starts talking about his journey, entrepreneurial journey itself, it will be more than many days. But yes, he highlighted on key aspects and must have motivated all the students to understand the basic granules, I will say, basic element, I will say, of starting a thing with mind and soul, which he did throughout his life. And still he's pursuing the same things with the similar spirit as a young boy or young child, I can say. So I believe students must have a great takeaway with his deliberations and talk. And if I will request all the students also to understand and study about his journey altogether, because it will be not only motivating element for them, but will be altogether a learning experience too. Mr. Satyakki Bhattacharjee very succinctly talk about the latest things which is happening in the light of SDGs being followed by United Nations, and naturally entire globe is required to understand the importance of SDGs, because no doubt future for all the youthful youth who wants to be entrepreneur, or even if they want to survive successfully in different businesses or different practices, they will have to understand the SDGs, because it will be the future practicing goals of all the nations together. Mr. Ashu Kansal talked about his own journey, the challenges, and very well he deliberated upon the idea if it is going to be successful, if it is going to be of great use. Naturally, lot many supporters are there, lot many takers are there, lot many people are there to finance. But yes, initial challenges are there. Whenever someone wants to start anything or someone wants to go for a startup, then naturally financial restrictions are there, challenges are there. And I would like to say here that there are several new entrepreneurs who have been requesting rather many people to either take over their ideas or to support their ideas. So naturally financial support that always remains a limiting factor, especially in our country. And many of the ideas die before seeing the day of the light itself. But still, government is doing great things. Government has started supporting the entrepreneurial spirit of the people, and naturally, Atmanirbhar Bharat cannot be called a simple word, but the entire nation, the entire ministry, entire government, and all the industries also, they are also very much determined to make it a fact in near future itself. I express my sincere thanks all to all the esteemed guests, all the students also for listening very patiently and understanding the importance of this summit, which has brought leading speakers from industry and social life too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Once again, on behalf of GL Bajaj Institute of Management and Research, I would like to extend my heartfelt thank you to all the expert speakers, esteemed guests we have today. And just to remind everyone, our session of power-packed discussions are not over, and we will resume with panel discussion 1 at 1:20 p.m. And all the students and delegates are requested to join us. A separate Zoom link for all the sessions have already been shared with everyone. So please log in accordingly. And thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. And thank you, Mr. Satyakki Bhattacharjee. Thank you, Dr. Bindeshwar Pathak. Thank you, Mr. Ashu Kansal. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So with your permission, should we end the session?